Hello everyone, this is from team Edukemy and we are here today in conversation with Ms. Gunjan Singh. She is All India ranked 16 and it is such a pleasure to have her here today. First of all, many congratulations on this tremendous feat. I'm sure this conversation will bring out a lot of strategies and ideas and insights and inspire all our aspirants. Now, before we go there,
Thank you,
let's
Adarsh.
first start by your address to our aspirants.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Adarsh. I am Gunjan Singh. I have secured All India Rank 16 this year in the UPSC Civil Services examination. To all the aspirants who are watching this video, I would say that being my third attempt, you can consider me a bundle of mistakes. So you can learn a lot from my mistakes. And if you are having the courage to proceed further and to take upon this journey, then maybe you can learn a few from my mistakes and try not to repeat them. All the very best.
Wow, thank you very much. I mean, you clearly said that, through a journey more than the positives, it's best to learn the bad and the pitfalls so that you can develop better. Now, I would like to know a little bit about how you were inspired to become a UPSC officer or an IAS officer. What was the start like?
So the thought of joining the services, though I was not knowing the importance and meaning of the post and the designation, the thought came from early on in the childhood. But understanding the meaning and importance of it came later on when I joined my college, IIT Roorkee, and I got the opportunity of working in National Services Scheme, that is NSS, and then forming a voluntary group, that is Bharat Vandan, and working in a particular village, Bhangiri, and interacting with women there, trying to teach children, and trying to do some kind of challenging task. So that was when I realized that this thing is my passion, my calling, and I might have joined an NGO later. Like if had I not cleared UPSC, I might have joined an NGO. But my first thought was, why not to prepare for civil services? Why not to join services? Why not to become the part of the state? And then try to bring changes, like by becoming the part of the state, by becoming an internal agent to the whole development process. So that was my major turning point in the village work that I did. And after I worked as a software developer, and that was when at the post that I had as a software developer, it was only to see that whether that passion in me that I have towards social service, is it just a momentary passion, is it an impulsive thought? So for that I
Yeah.
tried to work in the corporate sector, and that was when the thought it became strong, and I finally decided that I need to pursue and I need to prepare for civil services.
Wow, that's really inspiring because we've heard many stories where people want to be a part of the system and bring a change. And I'm really happy to know that you were so strong about your determination. But one thing is that how did the aspiration begin? Now, you aspired to be a part of the change, but how did you strategize in terms of your preparation, in terms of how, which coaching did you choose? So, how was that choice like?
So talking about my preparation strategy, I was pretty clueless, like during my college time, and even in my job when I was doing my job in Pune. It was only after I interacted with few of my seniors in my college who were already preparing, and I got to know about Bajiram and Ravi for GS coaching. And I had decided to choose geography as my optional, so I came to know about Shabir sir's coaching, and that was the first thing that I did when I was in Pune. From there itself, I had joined both the coachings from my savings I had, and then in 2016 June, I shifted to Delhi. From there, it started my process where I got to know about like Lakshmi Khan for the first time, that it is a book for
Okay.
quality, and I got to know about the current affair materials. And believe me, I was pretty surprised for the first time when I held a particular coaching's monthly current affairs booklet, and I thought, oh God, it's like 80 pages
Yeah, yeah.
because
One
earlier
thing,
I had
yeah.
not much inkling about it. So from scratch, I started my journey. and the starting 1 year, the beginning 1 year or 1.5 year was quite grilling, because honestly I did not have much knowledge about economics, or about the talk about any prelims or GS paper. And it was I was trying to understand the demand of the examination. So
Yeah, I think
in my first,
really,
yes, Adarsh.
yeah, I think it will be really difficult, right? Because as I gather, you were from a software background, and then you stepped into this. You didn't have any clue on how you have to go ahead. So you figured it out yourself, bit by bit, which gives hope
Ah,
for us also to be able to do it.
definitely, Adarsh. Like the scene was when I came to Delhi, and believe me, in my very first attempt, I was like so sure that I'll give my 15 hours daily, and I'll do this and do that, and I will like just crack this exam in my very first attempt. So that was my motive when I came here. And luckily, I met Shabir sir, and I still have in my notes all his motivational quotes that he would tell us during the class, that you guys, you are no lesser mortals now. Or he would say that the journey that you have taken up, you will see many lows and highs, but then that is how you have to juggle, and you have to keep balance everywhere. So those were his thoughts and lines which helped me move throughout my journey. And and also I gave a lot in my first attempt. Like in my first year of preparation, I think I did like some 3 hours of GS coaching, some 3 hours of geography coaching, and then I came back home. And because it was, everything was trial and error. So anyone who was giving some kind of advice, I was taking it up. So like Shabir sir said, go back home and make synopsis of all the class notes that we are doing today, because that is what you will be your revision, and that is how it will be ingrained in your mind. So I tried those things, and so like 6 hours of coaching classes, and back home it would be 4 or 5 hours of my self study. So my
Wow.
first year was very much like that, because that is how you get accustomed, and you get to know the concepts, and you understand the concepts. Because reading the Hindu for the first time, it was kind of a nightmare, because I would not understand what is happening, or what news is important, which editorial to choose, and what not. So all that process, I think, I try to have a lot of patience. That maybe like in starting, it took me like 2 to 3 hours to read a newspaper. But then I understood that maybe if I'll dedicate this much time now, maybe later on I won't be I would not be giving this much time, and I would be more familiar with the concepts. So my journeys in, yes, Adarsh.
You say that's amazing. The amount of time you put per day, about half the day, 11 to 12 hours, you've kind of spent every day on preparing, and have gone through the rigor. But one thing
Yes.
which kept you motivated, like what was the drive to keep you wanting to study for so long, and following everything?
So the drive, I would say, is multi-dimensional, right from my parents' motivation. Like my parents, they are very much interested in poetry, and especially the Veer's poetry, the poetry showing valor and courage. So my father and mother, they would keep reciting me poems. So the parent support was always there. I had just a few friends left, like those friends who would always motivate me throughout my process, that whatever be the situation, whatever be the condition, you just need to carry on. Then back of the mind, I had this thought that why have you started this process? Like, why do you want to come here? Why have you left your job? And it was always, there were certain particular incidents. Others, like if I can quote, while working in a village, there were some events, and at the end of the day, small boy was sitting waiting for me while I was going to returning back to my college. I was cycling back to my college, and I saw him sitting on the way, and he asked me to, Didi, please stop. I said, what? And he had a tiffin with him. It had Maggie in it, and he
Huh.
said, I was waiting like since morning for you, so that I can share this with you. And maybe I had helped him some time, and he had passed his exam, and he was a very tiny little boy. And I can quote many such incidents. And when there were times when I was feeling low, that I cannot, maybe this thing is getting too much grilling, and I think I cannot continue it. But then there were such moments when, the thoughts would come, the images of such children would come, and then I would realize that, okay, one more attempt, one more try, one more day, And if this is not an NGOs, and other options are always open. So these
Wow.
were all my motivations throughout.
I really had goosebumps listening to that story because the
Thank you.
yeah is
Maybe
what
if
is
we have
needed.
some time, yes, if we have some time, like sometime later, we can sit down and I can tell you. I have so many of
Yeah.
these stories. Now I would be like visiting the same village, and I would love to meet those children
Wow. I
because
think
of all the memories I
what
have.
we would like and what students or aspirants would like is to know these stories that we can have separate interactions maybe where you share these. So when people reach their lows, they would want to look at your motivational videos and try to make that I can do this. I will take it one day at a time.
No, maybe I would not try to come up as a motivational speaker. I would just say to the aspirants that whatever your core motivation is, like if even if it is the prestige, or even if it is the status, whatever be the reason, just keep it very real, keep it very fundamental. Like my very reason of joining was very dear to my heart, and I kept it very personal, that this is the reason I want to join the services. And even if whatever lows I would be facing, these things kept me motivated. So whatever be the reason, if someone is coming for some other kind of benefits and remunerations they are thinking of, they should keep it very dear and personal to them.
Yeah.
I do not think that we should like just classify this examination just as someone only for civil social service. Like there
Yeah.
can be various motivations for various people. I would always say these motivations should be strong enough to keep you determined throughout.
Amazing. So it doesn't matter what is the reason. You have to believe in it, and it has to take you each day at a time towards your goal. That's
Yes, yes.
amazing. So now you mentioned about the mistakes and the pitfalls that you had to avoid. What would you say are some of the things that we have to avoid, or students can maybe overcome and not repeat it all over again?
Yes. Now, considering my third attempt, and people in Karol Bagh and Patel Nagar
Yeah.
call us veterans there.
No.
So
Okay.
yes, I have lot many mistakes with me that I can share with you people. Firstly, I would say that when I started my preparation, I had no inkling, no strategy like how to proceed. And so what I did was I solely focused only on the prelims preparation. I think for anyone, be it fresher, beginners, or be it like people like me, veterans, if you are focusing, if you are preparing for this examination, you need to strategize it well. Like you should not compartmentalize your studies into, okay, this is just for free, this is just for means. Because
Mhm.
when you study any topic, like if you talk about the modern history, it comes in the prelims also, it comes in the mains also. So when you try to study, try it like you would study in a manner that you are able to write some answers on it. And when you learn the facts, don't think that these facts will be used only in prelims. These facts
Okay.
will become your case studies, your examples, your facts for your answer writing in the mains examination. So I would say keep an integrated approach towards your preparation, like how you would studying any topic. Do not like think that, oh, I'm not giving much time to mains and I'm not giving much time to pre. Do not do that. Always have an integrated and a balanced approach. Then second thing I would say that I started answer writing very later on in my preparation stage. That is again a mistake I would say, because others, there are two things about answer writing. Firstly is that some students jump on from the very beginning with answer writing, like they have no idea of the topic, the subjects, and then they start answer writing. I think that is also a mistake. The other mistake is people like me who procrastinate till the very end, that one day I will have perfect knowledge and I will have the perfect ability, capacity to process that knowledge, and then I will start answer writing. I think these living in these two extremes is a kind of a pitfall. We need to achieve some balance in it. So anyone who is trying to start, this is mostly for the freshers and beginners.
Yeah.
Like do some basic reading, NCRT reading for all your GS. Maybe like cover your history, economics, polity, some basic reading from NCRT, and maybe some standard books also you can refer, like Lakshmikant and all. And then start with answer writing. Start writing answers like maybe after 4 or 5 months of your basic reading, start writing maybe one or two answers per day. And
Yeah.
when you start with answer writing, I actually loved this idea of Shabir sir when he said that when you start writing the answers, just do not go ahead and start the timer, and within 5 to 7 minutes you pressurize yourself in like you have to complete the answer. For beginners, if it takes even half an hour to an hour to about 2 hours in penning down one answer, so be it, because this is your first answer, and like for the next 5, 10 answers, dedicate some amount of time, do some research, try to understand the keywords, the demand of the question, if the word is comment or is it
Yeah.
critically analyze or whatever, just this, try to understand what the question is asking and then proceed. So these things, and after like you have written 10, 20, 50 answers, now you have taken up the speed, now you know the format, now you can very well carry on. So these are the
Right.
things which were my mistakes. I started these things very later on. So I would say to not repeat these mistakes. And particularly for prelims, I would say that as much as you study, try to give as many tests as possible. And the amount of tests you take, like the MCQs that you do, try to learn from them and backtrack your studies. So, like if I have read polity, now I will give a sectional test on polity. What I would do is I would now go and I would check my polity paper, and I would realize, okay, so in 100 among 100 questions, I have done this and this wrong. Now try to figure out which chapter I am getting more questions wrong, and
Yeah.
then backtrack your preparation and do those things. And even if you're like giving as many tests as possible, then keep on revising all those questions which you are getting wrong. So this whole thing is all about revision. So even if
Yeah.
your sources are very limited, or my sources have been very limited, I have not included many sources, but the number of sources I had right from the beginning, I just kept revising them, and maybe it took me like 3 attempts to complete my revision and
Wow.
to reach this stage.
That's really good. So to summarize, the strategies have mainly been not to see prelims and mains as two separate things. You have to study it in a more integrated approach. To focus on test series, not get a time on the head from the start itself. Focus on quality, then you will pick up the and to regularly
Yeah.
stay updated in formative tests and analyzing where you went wrong and making it strong. So
Yes, yes, yes.
these three are, really good tips for all the aspirants to understand on how they can start their journey. Um, so it's been,
Hope it works.
yeah, I mean, I'm sure that, people would be really happy to see that these strategies were utilized so effectively. Mainly, I think the strategy worked, and you also had a lot of confidence and consistency in doing it. People make strategies, but they just might not follow it later, because consistently doing something for 3 years requires a lot of motivation. And
Yes, Adarsh, regarding the strategies, like I would add one more point. I would say just do not be very rigid in it.
Hmm.
Like, believe me, I have a whole separate notebook about my strategies. Like one day I would just pen down a schedule that within like 5 days I would be completing this and this and this. And then by the end of the day, I realize that no, I have certain limitations. My capacity is not that.
Yeah.
So that is when you evaluate and assess your capability and limitations, and then you make certain amendments and changes. So I have done that many times. Like when we start preparing, and particularly for prelims, I would say, because the time, because we are preparing for mains and prelims together, and it is only like 2, 3 months left before prelims, that we focus solely on prelims, and that is the time we have to revise all our current affairs. We have to do with all the GS topics, and also take as many tests as possible. So that is the time when we need to evaluate and understand our limitations. Okay, so now what topics should I focus more on? Which would, like, where am I getting more accurate answers? What are my strengths and weaknesses? And if I can redeem my weaknesses, so how much time will it take? And if not, then can I leave this topic altogether? And how many questions like might come from this? And how much risk am I taking? So these are very personal and individual things which I think a person should keep on doing and
Yeah.
evolving oneself throughout this preparation. So do not keep your strategies or your process very rigid. Like at one point of time, you think that you cannot proceed further with this. Like something has suited me, and you people. Guys, all the aspirants, you might see like many people like me and the previous year toppers and whatnot. But then, whenever you are formulating any strategy, it should be very your very own. Like, just do not copy paste and do not do that thing.
Correct. No one size fits all approach.
Definitely.
Just taking the best from everybody, seeing if it works, and whatever works to making it better. Um,
Sure.
so another point that I've been meaning to ask is, I've heard there is a lot of challenge in choosing an optional with so many
Yes.
options available. How did you
Yes. Yes.
make the choice, or how should the aspirants think before making a choice on which optional?
Um, my choice, like my way of choosing geography option was quite easy. So I'll talk about it later. But
Right.
what I have realized, the way of choosing optional would be, like we have the list of optionals. We can check it from the UPSC website, and there are various other websites we can check. What we can do is we first can read the syllabus, like read the syllabus of all the optionals. Then you think you can, from there you can prioritize and you can choose like 5 to 7 optionals. Now, one thing that can be done is you can do the basic reading of just one book, NCRT book, maybe class 11th or 12th, for each of the optional that you have chosen. Like if there is sociology, maybe take up
Okay.
the society and the structural change NCRT classes and read it. If you're trying to choose political science, then take read one NCRT classes, NCRT regarding it. Same for geography, philosophy, psychology. Like if you've chosen 5 to 7 optionals, now I think that would be a good thing to
Yeah.
proceed on, because to go by the analysis of the toppers last year, like from the topper which gave like from which optional the maximum marks came and
Yeah.
all those things, I think that is more of a misnomer, because I think optional is something which will be very, very very dear to you, which will be
Okay.
very dear to you in the whole preparation process. Like
Right.
if you're not liking your optional, reading it and preparing it would become a real nightmare. So once you love your optional, whatever be the optional, you'll outperform in that optional. So I think that would be a better method. Yes,
Yeah.
you can do the trend analysis and all those things, but it is very necessary that you love your optional. So do some basic reading before you choose it.
Yeah. So how was the love story of yours with geography?
So now this is my story, and I think no
Yeah.
one should like emulate this. What
Uh,
happened was, because I was in Pune, I was doing the job, and I was not knowing anything about the civil services, like how to proceed and what not to. But I had just this determination that I have to go and I have to prepare. So I talked with few seniors, like from my college, and I asked them like what options have they taken, and they said that geography is good, and they are doing geography, and Shabir sir is their teacher, and like they are loving geography. So I came here to Delhi. I took I had chosen geography already, and that is when I started meeting students from chai walas to the stationery shop people.
yeah.
Like everyone is full with opinions, and they started telling me, no, it's meeting some kind of unfair treatment, and how you have chosen all that. And I remember my very first few classes in Shabir sir's class, when he said, listen guys, if you want to change your optional, so this is the time, go ahead and change it. But if you have chosen it, now whatever be the vastness or the diversity of the syllabus, this is your optional, and whatever option you will choose, all optionals have some depth and
Yeah.
diversity. So if you are this faint hearted, and if you are not like having the courage to move ahead, maybe you should drop it now, rather than regretting later on.
Later.
So
Right.
it was a lot of the formative stages in Shabir sir's class, when I actually decided, so that okay, this subject, what I've chosen is not bad, and it's good, and I should carry it on. So my process of choosing optional is not something that I
Yeah.
would tell people to emulate or follow.
Yeah. No, but that's fine, because now everyone wants to kind of know the secret to your success. There's so many recipes, so many ingredients that go into the secret that
So the secret of my success would be like having not much knowledge about which optional to take to getting good marks in my optional, is that whatever you have chosen, you either you first you love the subject and then prepare about it, or you start loving the subject during the preparation. So mine was the second case. I started loving geography, right from the thinkers to like how it evolved, to how geography actually covered the very pertinent problems. Like I loved people to like from the women issues to the agricultural issues, and I came to know so much about like what is happening, the contemporary things, the problems that India is facing at present. And that is how I proceeded, and I kept on making kept on like doing the classes regularly, taking tests regularly, making jottings like for case studies and relevant things from the multiple current affair sources, and focusing a lot of time on geography. So that is how I proceeded.
Nice. You kept mentioning Shabir sir a few times. I just want to know. So how was it like? How is Shabir sir? What does he mean to you? How was the classes, the mentorship? Is there anything in short that you would like to say about Shabir sir?
About Shabir sir, I would say that the first time when we were doing his classes, he was not just our geography teacher. He knew that we are very naive children that who have just come up and we have some kind of aspirations, but we are clueless. So he knew the mentality, or he knew our state, like
Yeah.
the students at large. And what he did was he helped us focus and help us prepare our GS also. Like he would set deadline. He knew that we are doing our GS classes. He knew that we are doing our geography classes at the same time, and so he knew that you people have less time when you will be doing your self study. So what you should do is make synopsis of the NCRTs. Make even he asked us one time. He asked us to read the current affairs one monthly booklet. He said choose any monthly booklet, current affairs booklet, or choose from any coaching. Like there is no foundation, but just give it to me. And he asked us to submit it like within 5 days. You should have like learned that booklet, make jottings, and like put some sticky notes on that and give it to me, and I will evaluate and I'll check that which student has learned what. So that is
Okay.
how he kept us motivated, and he kept us helped us push our limits, because like doing 6 hours of class and returning back home, from all the dusty roads and pollution, we were like all exhausted. But then it was always his deadline that helped us, motivate further. So it was just in 2016 that I did Shabir sir's class, and I did one 3 months enrichment class. Beyond that, it was all my own preparation, and later I took some other geography coachings also. But Shabir sir's guidance, Shabir sir's ideas, and his motivation, they remained with me throughout this process.
Amazing. It's so nice to know that you have everything so well organized. Now that you have achieved your dream, so to say, your real dream of wanting to serve the society is in front of you, and you have the whole opportunity to do it. So,
Definitely, Adarsh.
yeah,
I'm not just excited at the moment. I'm just the whole thing is so surreal, because when you fight for something very dearly, like for years and years, and it suddenly comes to you, then you have to sit back, you have to absorb the reality, you have to sink in, and you have to think. Now, this okay, the excitement is okay, but now I have a lot more responsibility with me. I have to the all my passion and the grit that I had. I have to like prove it to not to the people, but to myself also, that yes, this is what I've always
yeah,
yearned for.
yeah. And I'm sure Godspeed, it will all happen. Thank you so much for the time and for sharing so many insights. And wish you the best.
Thank you, Adarsh. Thank
You
you.
are the right person to guide all of us and to take the whole country ahead with you. Thank you so much.
Hopefully so. Thank you, Adarsh.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a nice day. Good,
I
right?
think this
We are
I guess
anyway going to end now.
it is going to it. So
So
like we covered the basic things, right?
I think we did. Ishani, Veer,
They are on mute, I think.
yeah. But really nice knowing your story and just